No, I don't think so. I think largely the structure of justice is a little bit heavier on those who don't have governmental support within our society. Because take the tribunals. I think jurisprudence students should go into why it makes sense for a case to drag in a tribunal while the contestant, one is in office, the other is out, and they're dragging the same thing. I mean, it looks odd. I don't know whether they do that in other countries, but
actually they do.
It's actually funny, because one should look at a situation like the Al Gore case is mentioned, where the Supreme Court had to give judgment before a certain date, and that date came before the inauguration of the president. I think that makes sense. It makes a lot more sense. And I didn't ever say there shouldn't be tribunals. I may have said something like that, but what I meant to connote is that tribunals really ought not be the arbiters of our elections. The elections should be done in such a way that the people see within them that elections have been conducted, they're free, they're fair, and this result clearly indicates the years of election you saw. That's not the case in most of these things. And as I said earlier, then you could have those, take for instance, folks who went for anywhere in Nigeria, House of Assembly elections. These are ordinary folks, they have no money usually. They're maybe young professionals who want to start off in politics. And then they're clearly beaten by, say, a strong arm sort of arrangement. And then they begin this journey in the tribunal. You know, it becomes a little tough.
Mr. Banwo, should there be a time frame within which matters at the tribunal are taken care of before the petitioners or whoever actually take office? Okay, Akpabio's matter was decided only this week. He's already in the Senate. Senator Baribe is already in the Senate, and his matter still hasn't been decided. So that we don't have cases where the cases are determined after the people have resumed work, and they now have to be recalled from where they have become
we have seen governors too.
You know, some governors have had to pack out of Government House.
Yes, certainly that is one of the three major things that is wrong with our judicial process, which is too obvious, and I don't know why they don't want to fix it. I think it is fraudulent on the masses for somebody to have been in the Senate for maybe 1 year, 6 months, and then later his election is invalidated. He has collected 150 million sign-on bonus and all those stuff that they collect, and I think that should be fixed. And then they do it the same way. Right now we have 180 days window that they must give a ruling. And I think what should happen, they need to shorten it, not elongate it. And then, like you rightly said, all decisions must be given before the swearing-in date. So that way, we don't have usurpers being in government for Look at Fayemi's case. The guy that was ultimately removed, I forgot his name now, was there for like 3 years. 3.5 years or so before Fayemi finally got his mandate back through the courts. And I think that is just nasty. So we could resolve that with a simple amendment of the law. All right. And then number two, one of the things that prolong these cases are interlocutory appeals. I've been on record many times as saying that is the number one thing that has rendered justice useless in Nigeria, when you think about how long you would take in court. So all they could simply do, like the way they do abroad, the way they do anywhere else.
Once again, it's the lawyers.
It's not the lawyers, it's the legislators. Now you have to understand, see, I'm a lawyer, yes, I have to make a case for that, but I'm not doing it because I'm a lawyer. I'm a very neutral guy in this area. But as every human being, if there's a loophole in the law, my job as a lawyer is to exploit it. No apologies. That's why you hired me, to do the best I can within the law to make a win case. So once that loophole is there, it is the responsibility of the National Assembly to plug it. Simply say, no interlocutory appeals. Bring all your preliminary motions within 30 days before trial. They tackle everything once, and then we take the trial. That's how it's done abroad. and then you don't go on interlocutory appeal based on one ruling that you don't like and go to Court of Appeal, and Court of Appeal will stop the lower process from going until they determine the appeal. That is the #1 killer of justice. Even me as a lawyer, when somebody upset me, I am thinking for myself, why do I want to go to court? Because I know it's going to take me 6 years. Take my case with Virgin. Or I had a case with Virgin Atlantic. It's been dragging for 5 years now. I'm so frustrated, I want to even just discontinue the case. Why? And I'm a lawyer. So try to imagine the average man on the street. And this problem can be fixed with one amendment. Very simple. No interlocutory appeal. Okay, bring all your pre-trial motions. They normally do that like abroad. You have your pre-trial motions. They give you like 3, 4, 5 days. Bring any motion you want. The judge hears everything, gives a ruling, then they set a date for trial. That trial finishes. Then you appeal everything together. If you don't like what is going on, then. But now all the. By the way, let me just throw back to what people blame lawyers and judges. Most of the cases of corruption against people, that was has stalled it. I could mention 10 of them. Okay, when they get to court, take all the former governors that were arraigned by EFCC and all that, all their cases, Akigbola, all those places, people, all their cases were stalled by interlocutory appeals. They come to court, the judge gives a ruling, maybe you can't tender one document or something. They say we're appealing that, and the minute they appeal, they stop the case at the lower court, and that's how all of it has stalled.
Is this something that the NBA can advocate?
Yes, the NBA has been advocating it, in all fairness to the NBA. So it's the National Assembly, the Judiciary Committee of the National Assembly, and incidentally, it's one of the areas that people like us at Change Vigilantes want to push. That listen, you in the judiciary, in the National Assembly, that is your baby, that's your monkey, you got to fix it. Basically, just simply propose the law, pass the law. NBA wants it, Nigerian people want it. Why it's not being passed, I don't know. And it's so simple. With that, all of a sudden, the legal atmosphere in Nigeria will change. If somebody cheated you, somebody did something you don't like, you know you can go to court, and you know the whole thing can be over in 90 days. So nobody is stressing anybody. But the way it is now, it's just unfair. And then the Nigerian people, because they don't know this process, they blame the judge. The law is there. If I say I'm doing interlocutory appeal, the judge cannot say I cannot do it, because the law allows me to do that. But if the law says you can't do that, then the judge cannot be held responsible for not finishing cases on time.
Yeah, we're talking about NBA trying to fix things and needing to fix some of the laws, you know, the tribunal.
Yes.
Now, some people have said even individual lawyers could have helped in some way by ensuring that these tons of petition that we have may not have emerged if they give that advice. Now somebody comes and says he wants to go to, calls you as a lawyer, I want to go to the tribunal, I don't, and you can see from the start that there's really no case because you don't have evidence, and then they still go ahead.
Well,
That's
with all
not
due respect, with all due respect, I don't think that is also true. And if lawyers do that, that is unethical. But it is unfair of you to expect a lawyer to be arguing or telling his client not to go to court. It's like asking an undertaker to pray that people should not die. That's his job. His job is to go to court. All right? So it will be against his own interest to be fighting against his own lawyer, his own client, to say, don't go to court. You advise him, but if the client insists, I want to go to court, you can be sure you are not going to be over aggressive in persuading him not to go to court, because you have to make your money. I wanted Jonathan to go to court so that some of my friends can get rich, but he didn't go. So, but that is me. It's my profession. It will be unfair for you to expect lawyers to be the ones saying, don't go to court. That's their job. It is for advocates. It's for their political advisors. It's for to put pressure on them to say, don't go to court. It's not what it, just like Jonathan rightly did. A lot of people of his guys wanted to go to court and say, listen, this thing is clear. Let's forget it. We just accept and we go. Some of them are still bearing him grudge. APC is still bearing Fayemi grudge for conceding. But I think he did the right thing. He assessed, decided, but don't put it on the lawyers. That's not our job. Is to go to court.
Can we go back? Can we go?
Give advice where you see.
I don't know. We don't advise them.
Can we go back to the electoral tribunals and process? We're not here to talk about lawyers. Yes. Lawyers want.
They're a big part of
No, no, we are not here to talk about them.
Lawyers don't fight.
You know, but I mean, you know, who was the guy who said that the 10 commandments came in 10 simple sentences because it didn't come through lawyers? The moment it comes through them, they just complicate matters.
Was a lawyer.
Complicated language.
Yeah, I mean, so, but what I was driving at is we were here to assess the tribunals. Well, he brings up the judgments about Fabio, about this. I think we'll leave that to the appeal court, because these things, take a man like me, for instance.
Are those being appealed?
Oh yes, they're being appealed. I mean, I'm sure appeals will come. I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about these specific cases. You know, I mean, there will be appeals.